During the argument, he called me the N-word, hard R, right after he said that he was apologizing profusely and said that he didn't mean that.
I feel like it just goes deeper. You didn't call me the B word. You called me a word that was used in the slave days. I am African American. I would absolutely question your character and question like how you feel about me.
There's obviously the narrative that things said out of anger is how you really feel. Do you think there's a world where you could say something that's super hateful, but you're only saying it just to really hurt somebody's feelings? Because the latter just means you have ill intent. The former means that this is deep down inside of you.
The only issue that I have is you really don't know. Have you been suppressing this entire time?
Or have you changed over time? Is this something that should be a deal breaker, or should I really try and move past it? They say that contempt is actually one of the strongest predictors of divorce. And one thing you gotta look out for too is people that may fetishize your race as well. We also live together and have a 1-year-old. What's up? Welcome to another episode of Love Up for Debate. We have some good, deep stories for you today. But before we get into our stories for the day, I want to ask you guys to like and subscribe. We appreciate you following us on this journey. I know we kind of switched gears a little bit and had a little bit of fun with the Love Island, but now that that's over, we're back to 2 stories a week. We'll absolutely add some more stuff like that in as time goes on and more shows come out. We love doing the reaction videos and we appreciate all the feedback and we loved it. But our original show is, us reading stories and giving our input on it. So like and subscribe for this type of content, and we'll continue to keep giving it to you. Without further ado, I'm going to read the story today, the first one, and then we're going to jump into it from now.
All right.
Ready?
Let's go.
All right, let's get it going. All right. This one's,
Is it pretty serious?
I mean, it's a little bit, yeah. All right. So, for context, I'm a light-skinned woman. There was something that he did that hurt my feelings, which is what sparked this argument. But my main question is, during the argument, he called me the N-word, hard R, right after he said that he was apologizing profusely and said that he didn't mean that. So, since then, I haven't looked at him the same. Is this something that should be a deal breaker, or should I really try and move past it? We also live together and have a 1-year-old.
Wow.
So we have a light-skinned girl, white guy, during an argument, calls her the N-word, hard R.
Hard R.
And obviously they talked about that. I think that they're engaged as well. So
And with a 1-year-old.
With a 1-year-old.
I am befuddled.
So first reactions, how do you feel about this?
Oh, I just have so many feels because like hard R is just beyond disrespectful.
Yeah.
And it's making me question his character and how he was raised, it's making me question his bloodline as well.
Okay.
And as like a light-skinned woman, and then, of course, like your child also being mixed with black. I would just be so concerned. I just feel like I wouldn't really be able to like trust him with my life and my child's life because now you've used that word and I am going to think that you view me as like, I don't know, like, I'm literally like,
does this, okay.
This is blowing my mind.
Does this, obviously she says she I haven't looked at him the same. Do you think that there's any coming back from this? Do you think this is a one-off deal breaker? Obviously, her question is, is this something that should be a deal breaker or should I really try and move past it? Obviously, we can start digging deep into that. But the question here is kind of, number one, obviously your initial reaction is befuddled. Placing yourself in a situation like that, even, I hate to say it, even like it wouldn't work with me, obviously. That'd be kind of crazy because that wouldn't make sense. But dating, outside of the race, how do you think that you would move forward? You guys have a 1-year-old, obviously. So you've known each other for at least quite some time. You've trusted him enough to, have a child with him. You guys live together, engaged. What is there a world where you dig deeper and see, if this is something you could get past, or is this kind of like I have the ick forever and there's no moving past this?
Oh,
and I know it's hard to put yourself in a situation,
it is really hard.
Just kind of like, if you can envision it, if you can hypothetically envision it.
Yeah.
What do you see yourself, what do you see yourself doing?
Because you know me, I do like to try to see both sides.
Well, good luck. Good luck seeing his side of it.
I try to see both sides, but in this situation, I just think that that's like completely unacceptable. And and that would be like a hard stop for me in that relationship.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it just goes deeper. Like you didn't call me the B word. You called me a word that was used in the slave days, and I am partially African American.
Right.
And you said it out of anger, and you used the hard R,
Yeah.
I just feel like for me, there would just be no going back from that.
Okay.
Because I would absolutely question like your character and question like how you feel about me, like deep down.
Right.
Like
no,
what
absolutely.
Is, like what is going on that like made you feel like that word was like completely like okay to use.
The question is, and this is the question after a little bit of kind of looking into this, the real question is about, the real question is, when we say things out of anger, some people like to, there's obviously the narrative that things said out of anger, or things said that when you're mad, or even like, sometimes when people say when you're drunk, are like things that are deep down, and there's how you really feel. The rebuttal to that is, sometimes your intent is solely to hurt somebody, and you find the worst thing you can say to them to cause pain. And that doesn't necessarily mean that this is your, this is how you feel, right? So you have the argument of people that say, hey, whatever you say when you're angry, that's essentially, you kind of projecting how you actually feel internally, even if it's deep down there. And the argument to that is saying, well, you could just be a vindictive person who says like, the most hateful, mean thing you could think of when you're really angry. And it doesn't matter what it is. It's not something that like you might not be racist at all. It might just be like, I know this word will hurt her, and I'm just here to cause pain. Now, I'm not saying either one of those are okay, but I'm just saying there is a difference between the two. Do you believe people say things out of anger, or do you think there's a world where you could say something that's super hateful, but you're only saying it to cause that type of pain, or cause somebody to really hurt somebody's feelings? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you understand kind of what I'm saying? Where like there's a major difference, because the latter means that you don't have this. The latter just means you have ill intent. The former means that, no, this is deep down inside of you.
Right.
Right. There's a difference there. I mean, are you one of those people that believe that anger, that things that out of anger are things that you have deep down inside of you? Because it came from somewhere.
No, absolutely. Okay. That's a good point though, because I have heard of people saying certain things just because like they know that it will hurt the other person. The only issue that I have is you really don't know.
Right.
Like there's no way to prove like that was something that they just said to hurt you.
Yeah, sure.
And they don't like truly feel that way about you.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going to go with the latter here and just say that I believe that people like feel that way deep down. That thought came from somewhere is how I feel about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, you gonna tell me I'm wrong?
No, I'm not gonna tell you you're wrong. I think both things can be true.
Yeah.
I mean,
because I just believe in the things that are there, that like in the actions that I see. And so you could tell me all day, like, oh, I didn't mean it when I said, that with a hard R.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Do you think the veracity of the word is what causes you to think that? Like, I mean, like, let's dial it back a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
If I called you the B word, right? Do I really think you're a B word? Or am I just trying to say something that I know is like super disrespectful? And I'm saying, and both of those could be totally different. The racist comment could absolutely just be, could only, it could be so unique that it always comes with that undertone of like, this is deep down. Whereas the B word could be the opposite, where it's just like to hurt you.
It could, yes.
But I'm only trying to dig out if you think that like there are worlds or there are classes where something I do say to you outside of racism, something I do say to you that's like intended to be super hurtful, but not necessarily how I feel. Or do you think like deep down, I actually probably do feel like you're a B word, but like I'm only going to disrespect you like when I'm like super, super angry. I mean, it's a debate. It's not there's not a, one is right, one is wrong. I mean, I think we see this because you can't look internally into somebody, right? So even if I do say something with ill intent, that doesn't necessarily exclude the fact that it was deep down inside of me, or it is how I feel. Like both of those things can exist. Yeah. The question is, could one exist without the other? And I don't think there's like explicit, an explicit way to study that. I don't think there's an explicit way to like prove that. Yeah. Right. I can't prove if this guy,
not honest.
Right. I can't prove if this guy, obviously he's gonna say like, oh, I didn't mean that. I'm so sorry. Right. That's gonna be his. But the question remains: Did you mean that?
Did you mean it?
Where did that come from?
We can't pick your brain apart to see what you truly meant by it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Now, so this goes into a further kind of discussion where essentially, like if you were to go to see, like if they were to go to like couples therapy, the question would actually start to, the therapist would start to dig deeper into, is this a patterned behavior or is this a one-off? Because it does, while it won't 100% prove whether this is deep down inside, the pattern can and will at least offer some sort of guidance as to like, has he done this? Is this behavior consistent, or you've been together for 5 years, it came out one time and then it never happened again, or you've never even seen the side of him. The guy's an activist and he's a Black Panther, you know what I mean? Like, even though he's white, you know what I mean? But I mean, and I'm just being funny, but that becomes kind of the question here, right? It's or not the question, but that becomes kind of like how you go to maybe figure out, so I think you kind of have to look in and to see, and if this is like behavior that's happened over and over. So I guess the next question is, we're together for, I don't know, let's say 5-10 years. And perception and discernment is kind of one of those things. Usually this type of behavior does reveal itself a little earlier. Mm-hmm. But if it doesn't, let's just say it doesn't. Let's just say 10 years. Let's say we're together 10 years. And then I say this to you. Let's say our child is, again, because I'm going to try to, dig out this hypothetical. Yeah. Child is 1 now. Let's say it's 5 now. We've been together 10 years, and the child's 5. And then I say this word to you. Do you still question if I've had this in me now for 10 years? And there's no, I don't.
For 10 years.
I'm not trying to convince you one way or the other. No. I really want to know.
No, these are great questions. Yeah. Like, honestly, yeah, 10 years is a long time. And I haven't seen or heard you say anything to that extent towards me. Yeah. I would definitely be taken aback. And just the type of person that I am, I would still question it. Mm-hmm. Have you been suppressing this entire time?
Or have you changed over time?
Ooh, no, that's a good one, because people absolutely do change, especially in Trump's America. People change.
Absolutely. Yeah, we've seen it with our very eyes over the course of the past 10 years.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is also very frightening as well, because I truly believe that people can change. Like, your partner can end up being, someone completely different down the line. Right. And everybody has a right to change. But after 10 years of being with you and you doing that, it would just be really hard to figure out how to like navigate through that, basically.
Yeah. So one of the one thing that I found kind of looking into this is that they say that contempt is actually one of the strongest predictors of divorce. So essentially, mockery, degrading your partner, things of that nature, usually actually lead to, because they turn the other person into, again, you need emotional support. And you have to feel safe with you have to feel safe in your partner's care, and you have to feel safe in your emotions that they're going to take care of them, that they're going to always kind of, look out, like, out of everybody that you deal with, your partner is the last person that should be degrading you, right?
Right, of course.
You know what I mean? Like, that's the person you look to for comfort when you come home from work and you've been dealing with, angry customers all day and people talking crazy to you and all types of stuff, or just being out in the world in general, or maybe being on social media, and then your partner's kind of supposed to be that, that place of comfort, of where you seek that solace and that peace. And so, the sign from this is it's not a good one. It kind of is it's a bit of a precursor that leads down a really, hard, dark path. So just something, to keep in mind when you're dealing with your partner. If they started getting into degrading language, if they start, if this is kind of a consistent pattern, this does start to lead to, just like discontent for your partner. And contempt for your partner. So, with all that being said, this really comes down fundamentally to the race issue.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're both biracial.
We are.
With a child involved, I feel like you made a really good point. With the child involved, you're raising my child who is half black. So how do we deal with, how do I move forward from that? Because it's not just me that has to deal with, your like, I don't have, it's not just me that needs the emotional support. Now I'm worried about our child.
Yeah.
And so I guess that's kind of a major part of the decision here too, is like, how do you look at your child? How do we look at our child and in the way you're going to raise our child? Or how do you even look at him with, let's say that was from a place of, maybe you were raised in a racist family and you're able to overcome it, but some of those sentiments still kind of reside inside of you. And I get it. Like, we're in a country now where there's nothing but racial turmoil. So I could see those like things kind of creep up little by little, but it does kind of make me worry for the future. And that's kind of one of the biggest things when it comes to dating interracial, is that your partner, you have to really, really trust your partner, especially or specifically when you have kids. You have to really trust your partner in understanding the cultural, kind of the cultural structure of the different race that they're dealing with. Number one, and then number two, the struggles of that race or the obstacles of that race. Because I find that if you're not in tune with those things, it's going to be very hard for you to raise a child and gain some sort of perspective.
For sure.
I don't know, I don't know how you feel about that, but I do find that, and I'm not saying, I know people have this whole, like, don't cripple your child or tell them they're going to go through, don't tell them they can't do anything. I mean, I don't think that's the goal here, but I do think that there's an element of reality that you have to, kind of consider. And so if you are a parent and you don't tell your, black child that, listen, hey, you can be anything you want in life, but there are some obstacles that you're going to have to go through. And I find that sometimes with a parent of the opposite race, coming from a biracial background, or excuse me, coming from an interracial couple, there are struggles that a child will grow up with that the parent of the opposite race may not ever understand. So it becomes really difficult for them to level with the child, teach them kind of, her child comes home and face some sort of like racial issue instant. And it's like, how does the parent perceive that? How do they even give advice when because it's a really hard thing. It's a really hard concept to show people what it's like, living in a certain way where, every single day or just at least throughout life, you're going to deal with issues because of your skin color. You are going to. I don't care. We can act oblivious if we want to. The stats are there. The research is there, but, and if you don't prep your child for that, especially, I got to feel that like if I die, the other parent, like you're equipped to deal with my child. You know what I mean? So
for sure.
Or our child.
I feel like a lot of parents don't think in that way.
Yeah. And
it's just scary.
When it comes to interracial, I mean, I don't know. I think it's extremely important. I think it's really, really important because if you don't prep your child for things that they may come up with, not only will they'll grow up and be oblivious to it. And the lack of self-awareness, or not even self-awareness, but excuse me, situational awareness could be actually fairly detrimental.
Right.
It really just depends on things that they, hopefully they never deal with it. But I mean, God forbid, they grow up and aren't privy to, kind of things that can happen because of your race. And again, it doesn't mean, pull the race card with everything that happens. There's definitely some boundaries there, and you could teach that you could teach that kind of common sense there and being able to kind of perceive what's going on. But there are a lot of instances where, a white parent would not know that what's happening to their black child is because of their race, simply because they've never been through it before, and they'll never know how that feels. And this is not a victimhood, it's not implementing like a victimhood mentality in your child. I understand that people can't see to delegate between the two, but, but it's really, really important that these things are considered, and that if you're choosing a partner of the opposite race, that they are aware of kind of, your culture. It doesn't have to be black either. It could be, it could be Middle Eastern, it could be Indian, it could be Asian. I mean, you know what I mean? It really doesn't matter.
Yeah, it applies to any race for sure.
So I don't know. I think that's really, really important when you're raising a child in a racial relationship. I know we'd like to all sit there and think that it's like kumbaya and all flowers and sunshine when you go out into the real world, but you're doing your child a disservice if you do not. I think that, like, personally, I feel like, when you bring a child into the world, feeding them and putting food on the table and make sure they have shelter over their head, like that's the bare minimum. It's not even the bare minimum. Like, you have to do those things, right?
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't make you a good parent. Yeah. Those are requirements. That doesn't make you a good parent. What makes you a successful, I should say, a successful parent is, have you prepared them for life to go into the real world? Have you prepared them to deal with what they're going to deal with in the real world? And if you do neglect those things, because people have this, they just lack this understanding of the difference between, hey, prepare your kid for the real world, and like, oh, don't make your kid a victim. Yeah. There's a difference between the two. You don't teach them to say, hey, look, I'm this color, I'm black, so I may not make it to the top of the, of this corporate world, right? No, you say, hey, you're black. You may have some struggles getting to the top, but you have everything equipped inside of you to do
it. Yeah. Absolutely.
But not preparing.
And don't let it stop you.
Don't let it stop you. But we're not preparing them for those setbacks, not preparing them for, for those obstacles. You can hate it or love it. It just, again, stats back me up. It's fact, and it's what they like to say, facts over feelings. Stats back up what I'm saying. So it's not like a victimhood. You can call it victimhood mentality, but then I have a country of years of history of stats saying that, yes, there are hardships that other races absolutely face in this country, due specifically to their skin color.
Yeah.
Anyways, a little bit off topic there, but
I think it was still on.
Yeah. I guess my question again, lastly, is just, so at the end of the day, you don't think, do you think there's a way back from this? That's the real question. Is there a way back from this, or is this a deal breaker? Is this a forever, hey, we're done, pattern or not? ill intent or not, and this goes into because I don't know why this ill intent thing has been coming up with me lately, but
Yeah.
over the past 2 or 3 weeks, I've had to very, very, and I'm sorry being long winded here, but very, very immensely detail the how saying something, even if you didn't intend it in a bad way, even if something you're doing or saying lacks ill intent, and you have no ill intent, you can still cause pain and you can still cause harm. And I
Yes.
think for some reason, that can be a bit of a hard, concept to understand. But yeah, you can still cause pain even if you mean well.
Mm,
But yeah, so I guess
that's
the
so
question,
true. And I mean, like, and that also probably plays a part in like where where she goes from here.
hmm
Like, how deep is that pain? And I think that I don't know, like I could see it going one of two ways.
yeah,
Um, because also a kid is involved, and that is so hard.
yeah,
Like, that is really hard, especially like, I know a lot of people put up with a lot of things when it comes to their relationships and their partners simply because they have their children, you
hmm
know? Um,
very true.
and I don't there are certain things that like I feel like yeah, maybe like you can like work through,
hmm
but I don't believe in staying with someone just because you have kids together.
Yeah,
Um, but this one, I don't know. It's such a hard situation. And it's so unique. And I think for me, I would just feel so like disrespected
hmm
and I wouldn't really like, I feel like that's just something that would just live in the back of my mind,
sure,
you
yeah,
know?
absolutely,
And
absolutely,
I would just be like worried about like, is that going to like come out? Like, did you truly feel that way? Like, I would just look at you.
yeah,
Um, and just constantly like wonder.
hmm
And I think that that would tear me up inside. I
yeah,
think it would like eat me alive,
yeah,
living with the fact that like, I don't know, maybe my fiance or my husband is racist,
yeah,
you know?
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but
I
I
think
get
I think that's
there.
one of those. No, go ahead. I'm
No,
sorry.
I was
No, no,
going
no.
to
Go
say,
ahead.
but
Go
I
ahead.
do get that some people would probably continue this on. I just think that the word that was used was just completely unacceptable and
hmm
it shouldn't be in anyone's vocabulary. I
Yeah.
am literally half black, half white.
hmm
I have never said that
Yeah.
before.
No, I know. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I've never heard you say it
hmm
with a hard R. but yeah, so it's like I just feel like if it's in your vocabulary, something is going on
Yeah.
deep down with you.
Yeah.
Um so I don't know. That's my thoughts.
I'm with you.
I would be out of there.
I think I would conclude this with there are some things that you could say with ill intent and just so totally mean like I'm here to hurt your feelings and disrespect you. I think racism and things like the hard ER, I think it's really hard to pop up and you solely meant it for just ill intent. Like I'm gonna say the meanest because there's so many other things you could say. Even when it comes to like just being a woman, I could disrespect you as a woman and it'll have the same effect, if not worse. But the hard ER says something a little bit different about your character. Because listen,
Yes.
I don't get me wrong, I have had my anger issues and I've had some lack of self control many, many times. The one thing that my lack of self control has never led me to do is ever put my hands on a woman, ever. And I don't care how angry I've ever gotten, the thoughts never even crossed my mind.
Yeah.
And the second thing is, yeah, saying something racist, which I mean, again, it's hard for me. I'm about 10 different races, so you know what I mean.
You
But
are.
to say something racist to my partner, and just to say like, oh, like I was just trying to say something to hurt you. I don't know. That thought's never crossed my mind. I do think that has to stem from somewhere. Unfortunately, hopefully it's not just you being online all day and just seeing, comment after comment. But I know I'm kind of with you when it comes to something this dramatic. You know, yeah, it's one of those, it's a little bit more than an ick at this point, It
Absolutely.
can absolutely be a deal breaker. I think the path forward, I don't know. You really got to decide how much you trust this person going forward with your emotions. And if you bring yourself to not being able to trust them, I think you have to call this one and be aware that, you know, you can forgive the person. Forgiveness doesn't always mean taking them back, right?
Yeah. Oh, that's deep.
Yeah. Forgiveness can just encompass, you know, forgiveness is to remove kind of the resentment internally so that you come to peace with things, but doesn't mean, you know, I accept this behavior and we can move forward. It can just be that I forgive you, and but I can't move forward, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, this is a really tough one, but I think it's deep enough to say with our child too. I mean, that gets scary too now, because now it's like if we break up or if we divorce or whatever the instance is, and we have custody, now I have to worry about you having my child alone, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like, and who knows, like I would just question everything at that point. Like, how do you feel? How are you talking like around, you know, our child? When you look at our child, like, how does it make you feel?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that would be really, really hard.
Yeah.
It would.
Yeah, I don't know. Good luck on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that when it comes to, like I said, the biggest question is this deep down, or is this just, hey, I'm saying something to be mean? I think when it comes to racism, that stems from somewhere.
It does.
It stems from somewhere, and you have to really
stems from
question.
somewhere.
Yeah, you got to really question, like, how do you look at me? Because once you start getting to the point where you look at your partner differently, it's really hard to get back. It's really, really hard to go back.
It is, yeah, especially when it's like something like their character, the things that they value. All of
you're
those,
right.
like,
the character, man.
all of those like core things that like make that person who they are. Like it, no, that's there's no coming back from it.
Yeah,
at that point.
Once you kind of do something to destroy my view of your character, that's really hard. Like you do something and I'm like, oh, why would you do that? You know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't have to be racist. It could be, you know, it could be anything. You know, it could be like, you know, in your past, you know, I don't even know, like you have some sort of criminal history that I didn't know about, and then I find out about it, and it just like changes my entire perspective of your character. Not saying that criminals can't change, but it definitely can say, hey, like the capability is there.
Yeah.
Depending on what the crime was, right? Like I'm not saying like you robbed a liquor store or something. I'm saying like the veracity of the crime could definitely change your perception of their character. So I don't know. Pretty deep topic there.
That was a deep one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'd love to know your thoughts and how you feel. You know, have you dated somebody outside of your race? Have you ever had any sort of racism run-ins with a partner of yours? If you've dated, you know, interracially, so you know, definitely interested to see some people's experience with something like this.
Yeah.
I've never had a partner that was right. At least none that I
you know about. Yeah. No, and same here. I haven't encountered that. But it's frightening that this is still a thing in 2026.
Yeah. And now there is a world where, you know, and one thing you got to make sure you look out for too is people that may fetishize your race as well. Because that's a thing.
That is a thing.
And you have to know if your partner fetishizes if your race is just a fetish to them.
You really need to know the signs.
That's a whole different topic. We'll have to tackle that one day.
We're gonna have to, yeah, because I just
that don't
feel
get
like
talked about enough, but
people need to hear it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Coming soon.
Without anything else?
That's it.
All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning into this episode of Love Up for Debate. We'd love to hear your takes on this and maybe offer some insight yourself. We'd be glad to hear it. We probably went a little easy on the guy. Probably could have went a lot harder, but I just wanted to get to more of psychological aspect of it. maybe dig a little bit deeper than just like, spazzing out on the guy. So.
Yeah. Because I could have been like, F him.
Yeah,
and I did in
sure.
my head,
For
trust
sure,
me.
for sure, yeah. Ultimately, that's what we're saying. But
Yes.
yeah, okay. Well, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the day. Thank you for tuning in, and we hope to see you on the next one.
Bye.